tonight's talk is on depression and low mood. I thought it would be quite applicable because it was Comrades on Sunday, and after such a big event, it's usual to feel quite low. I always experience this. It feels like you've um, achieved this goal that you've worked for so long, and then it's over and just back to normal. People just want things from you, and it's like you just suddenly hit that wall. So I thought tonight would be a good night to just talk about the science of natural support. This is not extensive in any way. These are just some ingredients that I've come across, that I've researched, that I like, that I know works. So if there's anything out of the ordinary or that I'm not talking about tonight that you would want more info on, you're welcome to ask me. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is just a little bit of background. So firstly, depression is very prevalent. More than 280 million people worldwide live with depression or low mood. I think I grew up thinking depression doesn't really exist, but that's definitely not true. So where is it controlled from? It's your HPA axis. So this is all your hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. So this is your body's central stress management system. So for people with depression, this is completely dysregulated. So usually if you have a healthy stress response, your hypothalamus, that small region deep in the brain, detects a threat. So it could be a real physical danger, it could be a deadline, some difficult conversation that you don't really want to have, or even just a thought. But that part of your brain doesn't distinguish between a real and a perceived threat. It responds to them all the same way. So it sends this chemical signal to the pituitary gland, which is just sitting below the hypothalamus. So then this releases other hormones called ACTH, your adrenal corticotropic hormone, into the bloodstream. This travels to your adrenal glands, which is on top of your kidneys, and it tells them to release cortisol. So for the short term, this is actually good for you because, I mean, cortisol increases focus and it helps you to, it mobilizes some energy and everything. So short term, that's good. And this is your primary stress hormone. And in a healthy system, the cortisol feeds back and then it reduces again. But in chronic stress and also in depression, this feedback loop breaks down. And then the HPA axis gets stuck on the on position and cortisol stays elevated. And this does a lot of damage. So I think this is where you can have this excess inflammation, oxidative stress. And today we're going to talk about a few evidence-based ingredients that I really like that I think would help. Yeah, I think I've explained here exactly what happens. Then which are the key neurotransmitters that are involved as well? Firstly, you've got serotonin. This is for your mood, sleep, appetite regulation. So low serotonin is linked to depression, anxiety, poor sleep. Dopamine, I think we all know about dopamine, especially with social media rising. It's got to do with motivation, reward, pleasure. Low dopamine creates that you don't enjoy anything anymore, and fatigue as well. Then GABA, this is your calming inhibitory neurotransmitter. So low GABA causes anxiety, racing thoughts, poor sleep. Norepinephrine, energy, focus, alertness, dysregulation. Then you have low energy, difficulty concentrating. So a key insight here is depression and low mood are not just simply low serotonin. They involve that whole axis, multiple neurotransmitters, chronic inflammation. That's why for the ad for tonight, PEA actually also featured there because there has been some studies where they showed that PEA is helpful also for depression, but not because it does anything to your neurotransmitters, but because it addresses the chronic inflammation. And then, as I said, I'm going to be talking about some natural ingredients that you can consider if you are suffering from any of these. My first one that I really like is ashwagandha. I think it is definitely a big increase in it again. It's Ayurvedic, it's a herb as well. It's the #1 adaptogen for depression, stress, and anxiety. What is adaptogen? It's a herb that just helps you to adapt better to depression and stress. And here you can see the main effects that it has. I I chose a specific one, but this is just some of the data of a meta-analysis. We'll get to the specific trademark version. You can see there is a reduction in depression, there's a reduction in stress, and there's also a reduction in anxiety. So as you can see, you handle your stress better. So how does it work? It modulates your HPA axis. It's got GABAergic activity. It works on your serotonergic pathway. It's anti-inflammatory. It gives support. It's an antioxidant. So it reduces your cortisol production, enhances GABA receptors so you feel more calm. That's why I'm saying it's an adaptogen. Supports serotonin function, reduces neuroinflammation, boosts brain-derived neurotrophic factors, and protects against oxidative stress. So the one that I wanted to talk about is KSM 66. It's an ashwagandha that has been tested the most. And this is one of the randomized double-blind placebo-controlled studies where you can see stress and anxiety. So ashwagandha you usually take twice a day. That one was an extract that's 300 milligrams. The KSM 66 is extracted in milk. That's its that makes it different. So you can see there a 44% reduction in perceived stress score, a 27.9% reduction in serum cortisol, and a 72.3% reduction in general health if you do a questionnaire. Sleep and anxiety as well. There you can see it definitely helped with sleep, with anxiety, and also in the total sleep time. So this one I've used myself as well, being an athlete. Very stressful to train so much, not to sleep enough, and the ashwagandha definitely does make a difference. Weight and stress, so it reduces stress, so it also helps people because cortisol, there's a lot of studies showing that that actually makes you more hungry, makes you eat more, affects your sugar and everything. So people with a chronically high cortisol tend to gain weight, especially around the middle. So if you address that, it will actually help with weight loss as well. And then there's the one for athletes, recovery, 300 milligrams twice a day. You can see there was an increase in VO2 max, a reduction in serum creatinine kinase. So that means they're going to be less sore because that is a marker of muscle damage. And then a 59.2% increase in general well-being scores. So as I said, the KSM 66 is the world's most clinically studied ashwagandha root extract. So it's from the root. 50 studies, 24 published, all gold standard, double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized controlled trials. And it's only from the root. In Ayurvedic, they believe that only the root has got the medicinal value as well. There are obviously some other ones as well. I looked at all of them in detail when I worked on this stress and burnout formula. Sensorol, that one I would say is also good, is also standardized. Best effects that I saw there was for people with underlying thyroid issues. If they used it twice a day, it helped with their thyroid function and also more calming. Then Shodden, that's the one that's got the highest, standardized to the highest amount of actives. So you need the lowest amount of dosage, but as you can see there as well, it only has 3 human clinical trials. So yeah, it's just different ones. I like them, the KSM 66 the most, but all of them do have data. And then obviously the one that is the best for athletes is the KSM 66, and that's the one that I've used. I have used Sensorol before as well for my thyroid. It's been in a formula that we created as a thyroid support, and that actually also worked quite well. But as I said, there's safety. Monitor your thyroid if you are on thyroid replacement because it can increase your levels. Saffron, so this is my favorite. So for females out there, saffron is definitely a go-to. it's safe, it's a spice. There's a lot of studies on it. It has no drug interactions, and it's as effective as antidepressants for mild to moderate depression. So the dosage is either 30 milligrams once a day or 15 milligrams twice a day. And you can see the improved major depression symptoms versus placebo in published randomized controlled trials. And they've had a trial versus fluoxetine, so it was non-inferior to fluoxetine that's found in Prozac, versus imipramine. So that's also a tricyclic antidepressant, so it was also comparable in efficacy to that. And then there has been a study where they combined it with saffron, ashwagandha, and B6 and tryptophan, and it improved mood synergistically. So that's the nice thing about saffron as well. It does have very good synergy with other adaptogens and other ingredients that also work for mood. I looked at all the saffron studies, and it was actually so amazing. There's studies on PMS, perimenopause. I looked at saffron also for a menopause formula, one for ADD. So very versatile, great ingredient. It's one thing that definitely stands out in terms of its effect. And what I like about it is that it's safe. We have scaletium, which is South African version. It's from the plant canna that people sometimes chew for energy and for calming and for mood. But yeah, it for me, the safety profile there is not the same as with saffron. So saffron is definitely, that's why I highlighted it and included it in my presentation as well. So what does saffron do? It's got two active compounds, the crocin and crocatin. They modulate serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine reuptake with anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects. So if you see the raw material, see it's nice and yellow. So you can see that it definitely has an antioxidant effect. So this multi-neurotransmitter action mirrors conventional antidepressants, but without the side effect profile. As I said, 30 milligrams a day or 15 milligrams morning, 15 milligrams evening. That's especially if you have issues with sleep, and it is generally very well tolerated. Then one that I thought to bring in is more for anxiety, and this is L-Theanine. I have spoken about the person, Cole Albrecht, that helped me with my PhD. He was very much into herbal compounds as well. And L-Theanine was one compound that he was very, very interested in because of its effect to calm you, but without sedation. And yeah, you can see what does it do. So it increases your alpha brain waves. You're relaxed, but you're alert. It increases GABA, dopamine, serotonin, decreases glutamate, and it crosses the blood-brain barrier. It is also a caffeine antagonist, so you can take it with caffeine. So it reduces the jitters that you get with caffeine so that you can take less caffeine, but still be able to focus. As you can see, the dosage is anything from 200 to 400 milligrams a day. It's usually in split dosages. For the best effect, a single dose of 100 to 200 milligrams. And if you want to take it for sleep, 100 to 200 milligrams at bedtime. L-Theanine and caffeine. I think I've mentioned before, I worked on Turbovite as well. For the Turbovite Focus, that was the combo in there, L-Theanine and caffeine, for that exact reason that I said, better focus and accuracy than caffeine alone, and less jitteriness and anxiety. So it's ideal for exams, presentations, deep work, so that it calms that wide feeling of strong coffee. Here you can see L-Theanine and caffeine. This is just some dosing guidelines that you can follow, but the way that we formulate it is, I think we use either 100 milligrams or 150 milligrams of L-Theanine alongside with the coffee. Then magnesium. You'll see a lot of the stress and anxiety formulas also contain magnesium. Last week we spoke about, or the week before, about acid-alkaline balance, and I said that magnesium citrate is the best, and that's when it comes to acid-alkaline balance. But When it comes to depression, anxiety, sleep, I would either here go for the magnesium glycinate. It's chelated to glycine for superior absorption. It's calming, muscle relaxing, promotes restful sleep, reduces tension. It's gentle on the stomach. That is choice number one. If not, the magnesium bisglycinate, it's a premium form. It's highly digestible. So, and it's also very good for sensitive individuals. That would be my choice number two if you're looking for a magnesium supplement to help. Magnesium is involved in around about 200 enzymatic reactions in the body. And if you are low, a lot of people have low magnesium without knowing it. There you can see you don't sleep so well, muscle tension and cramps, but potassium is linked to that as well. Anxiety and restlessness, slower exercise recovering, feeling wired at night, fatigue and low energy. So it's always good to make sure that you do have magnesium with your either adaptogen or your herb like saffron as well. Then we've spoken about omega-3. This is very important. You need to have one at least with balanced DHA and EPA. There has been studies showing that the omegas are very important when it comes to your mood and everything as well. So that's definitely a baseline to consider as well. Here you can see some clinical evidence. Let's just look at that top one, the meta-analysis. EPA supplementation significantly reduced depression symptoms. So I think that is definitely enough of a reason to make sure that you do get your omega-3s every day. A dose 1,000 to 2,000 milligram combined EPA and DHA daily. There is quite a lot of options out there. When you look at the label on the formula, just make sure that there's a minimum of 60% EPA in the formula. And I obviously prefer the marine sources. There's fish, there's krill. You do get the plant ones as well, but they're not as effective as the fish ones. Omegas doesn't work immediately either. As you can see, you would have to use it at least for 6 to 12 weeks before you can expect to see an effect. Then the B vitamins, they are the mood cofactors. They're also very important. B1, as you can, in a lot of the stress formulas, it is usually you'll see the B vitamins all together. Short term, you can use one in an isolated form, but ideally, long term, you want to have a balanced B vitamins because if you take a too big dosage of one, you might be depleting some of the other ones as well. But just quickly, what are they responsible for? B1 is for neurotransmitter synthesis, serotonin, dopamine. So it's essential for brain energy metabolism. So you can see their deficiency causes depression, anxiety, fatigue. B6, oh, this is a great one. PMS, it's one that we always reach for when there is any type of water retention, PMS, mood factors. But yeah, it is responsible to help make serotonin, GABA, and dopamine. Higher B6 intake consistently linked to lower depression prevalence. So yeah, so it is a cofactor as well. It is included in a lot of products or supplements that have been formulated to be used alongside prescription medication because vitamin B6 is so important. B9 folate, also very important, especially for people that are not good methylators, but it also stimulates serotonin and dopamine synthesis. B12, yeah, very important. Also neurotransmitter synthesis, myelin sheath. This is the insulation for your nerve. And if you have low B9 and B12, then it could lead to mental disorders, or you have to make sure that you have these B vitamins if you have a prevalence or there is a family history of mental issues. And then the biotin one as well, very good for depression, anxiety, and stress. As I said, take a B complex, not isolated B vitamins. They all work synergistically. Best in the morning with food because they're energizing. Remember, they're water soluble. Sometimes it's better to have one that is in a type of a matrix because what you use what you need and you excrete the rest, which is good. A water soluble is always more safe, but just take that into account. St. John's wort, so this is an older one. I just brought it out here. It is quite good for depression, but it's got so many drug interactions that I would actually steer away from it. I know from a lot of people from when they discovered it or started saying that it works so well for depression, that actually made themselves very sick because it works on that cytochrome P453I4, most drugs as well. So the drug interactions was just quite a lot. So as you can see, avoid if you're basically on any medication. So you can consider St. John's wort if you're not on any medication. So yes, my supplement stack for depression and low mood, ashwagandha, fantastic. It's an adaptogen. Saffron for females. I spoke to another formulator as well that has a big supplement brand, and he said that, in his opinion, saffron is the best for females, and I have to say that I second that. L-Theanine, that's my go-to when I feel anxious. You don't have to continually use it for effect. I have a bottle when I feel I need that boost or I just want to sleep well, I use it, or if I want to take it with strong coffee, I also do that. B complex, have to take that every day, very important. Magnesium glycinate, that's my number one for anxiety and help with sleep. And then obviously omega is also very important, but it takes longer before you see an effect. The key takeaways, so ashwagandha has the strongest evidence for depression, stress, and anxiety, and especially that KSM 66. Saffron is shown to be as effective as antidepressants for mild to moderate depression, but with much less side effects. The L-Theanine is my go-to for calming if I feel like I just need to calm down or I feel very anxious. Magnesium glycinate, especially when I start struggling to sleep and have anxiety over deadlines and things. And then obviously I always take omega-3 and a B complex as well. So I just wanted to add, you have to seek professional help if you experience severe depression, suicidal thoughts, or symptoms lasting longer than 2 weeks. This is just for mild to moderate depression or low mood. As I said, depression is very prevalent. It's very serious. If you constantly feel down, please do go speak to somebody, go see a professional, and supplements cannot replace your prescribed treatment. And then just quickly, there is a Vitadurin stress and mood support. It has ashwagandha extract in, saffron extract, a chamomile extract, and vitamin B12. And it's to be used twice a day, morning and evening, because as I said, ashwagandha is twice daily. It's got more saffron in, but yeah, saffron is so great. There's some people that only use it once a day. So either way, it is a very good one just for stress and mood and anxiety and to help you stay calm.